Hi, Claude Whitacre here. I'm a sales trainer, a sales speaker. I talk to groups of salespeople across the country, also business owners, and I speak at conventions. I've been a keynote speaker. I've written several books on selling, and I read a lot of books on selling. A lot of authors that write books on any subject probably read a lot in that same genre. Well, I read a lot of sales books, and I have a vast library of books on selling, prospecting, closing, how buyers think, answering objections, that kind of thing. I have a large library of those things. One of my favorite books is this, Cold Calling Techniques That Really Work by Schiffman. Now, I have to tell you that this is the 7th edition, and I only bought the 1st and the 7th. And if you already own the 1st edition of this, which was written, I don't know, 30 years ago, it's been a while. I know because my copy has yellow pages, so I know it's been quite a while since that copy was written. It's a completely different book. Okay, it's a completely different book. Some of the approaches have changed and evolved over time, and the new version gives you a lot of information. Maybe a third of the book is devoted to using different media that wasn't available when the 1st edition was out. You know, how to use email and texting and leaving messages on voicemail and things like that. How to do all of that and still do a really good job of prospecting. I have to tell you, this is one of my favorite books on cold calling. Okay, it's obvious that Mr. Schiffman has done a lot of cold calling in his life. All right. So what I want to talk about today is one of the many things that I hear when I used to be training salespeople, and now when I'm speaking to groups of salespeople, and their company has a script. Okay, whether it's a closing script or a presentation script or a cold calling script, like in the book. And there's a lot of scripts inside this book. A lot of scripts inside this book that you need that give you exactly what to say when the customer says this, what to say to that, how to open the door for a sale, how to get past gatekeepers, all of that. It's all in this book, and it's really, really well done. Okay, everything in this book I'm sure works. The reason I know that is because even though the approach I was working at using at the time, after I read this book, I changed 2 or 3 things in my approach that I got from this book, and it worked even better. I was very, very satisfied. And at the time, I was an experienced salesperson with a few decades of good sales experience under my belt. So you can really get a lot out of this book if you're going to be doing any cold calling. Well, people, they're saying, well, salespeople say, I don't want to use a script. It's not natural. You know who says that? Brand new salespeople. That's who say that. They say, well, I'm reading a script. That's just not for me. That's not the way I would talk. That's not a point I would make. I like to do this naturally. I think people would appreciate it if I was just me. Okay? I understand that. I understand why people think that way. Why? Because that's the way I thought when I started out. I thought, wait a minute, I'm smarter than this. That's not the way a person talks. That's not the way I talk. This isn't the language I use. And I thought, well, I can do it better than that. Here's the problem with that. When you're following a script, you're always doing the same thing, all right? And if that script works a large percentage of the time, you don't have to depend on, if you're doing it by yourself and just ad-libbing, okay, you don't have to depend on always being up or always being sharp. Because I have to tell you something, nobody is sharp 100% of the time, all right? I know I'm not. You're not sharp 100% of the time. But you know what? That script can be sharp 100% of the time because that script has been tested. Okay? That means that the words in that script have been chosen because they get the best result. Here's a secret, folks. If you're doing an approach to selling, if you're cold calling or getting referrals or whatever you're doing, there are ways of doing all of these things. And let's pretend like if you're cold calling, there are 1,000 things that you can say. The first sentence when somebody answers the phone, 1,000 different things that you can say. Here's the truth. 995 of those things, the guy will hang up. Why? Because those things take away from the sale. Those things prevent a sale from happening. Those things don't lead anywhere. See, even though you're creative and spontaneous and being yourself, okay, 995 chances out of 1,000, you're going to say something that doesn't help, all right? 4 of the last 5 things are probably good. That means that, yeah, that works. In fact, where do you think these scripts come from? They come from testing things over and over and over and over again, getting rid of the things that don't work and keeping the things that do work, then testing the things that work over and over and over and over again, and then honing them trying different words, trying different phrases, trying different structures of sentences, structures of questions, sequences of questions. What works best? What gets you the best result? Okay? That's what you need to do. You need to do the thing that's really going to work. Because I want to use this as an example because this needs to be sold. This idea needs to be sold. It's not just that somebody can just explain it. Like in the book, there's a large chapter devoted to this one idea. It's that if I'm saying something, or if a salesman is saying something, or a book is explaining something that is counterintuitive, in other words, it's something maybe initially you're going, I don't know about that. I kind of like the way I've been doing it. All right? Those ideas have to be sold. Examples have to be given. Analogies have to be drawn. Okay, ideas have to be cemented in. And here's something I want you to know. If you go to see a professional comedian, okay, for an hour, you're going to see a professional comedian, it looks like the guy is just making it up on the cuff. He's just ranting and raving, and he's just a funny guy. But I have to tell you, that guy can only do 1 or 2 of those a year because it takes 6 months to write that material, okay? Get rid of what doesn't work well, keep what does work well. He keeps giving that same jokes over and over and over again to small audiences, testing their reaction. Did they laugh at that joke? They didn't laugh at that joke. Let me take that joke out. Let me do the joke a different way. Oh, they laughed at that a little bit more now. Okay, now let me see if I can hone that a little bit better and they can laugh more. Okay, so by the time they're ready for their special and they're talking for an hour, everything that they say is perfectly scripted. Okay? If you go to see a movie and you're crying and you're looking and the people are in the movie, the actors are emoting and you can tell that they're just living the moment. That might be the 40th time that person has done that scene. Why? Because they have to do it right. Okay? They have a script. See? Because they're not really those people. You have to have a script so that you know the right thing to say that's going to get you the best possible result. And that's why you need sales scripts. And it starts with prospecting. The first thing out of your mouth when somebody picks up the phone should be scripted. There's that, and there's a heck of a lot more in this book, Cold Calling Techniques That Really Work by Schiffman. I suggest you buy it. Thank you.